Hey team, what's happening? All right, good. The microphone is working now. Had a little technical difficulties. We're just 3 minutes in. We're just gonna start that thing over. Um, so continuing education, it will be worth it. Investing in yourself, leaving something behind. That is the title of this episode, and I've been uh, reading and researching a lot today about intermittent fasting. For those of you that have tried it, what's up? For those of you that haven't, what's up? Um, and especially over the last 15 years, it's really been a big thing. Um, it's definitely fallen by the wayside now that the ketogenic diet is in play, but we'll tie all that in. Um, but a physical therapist who I train and who we work together, he and I had a conversation about nutrition, and he was like, I really like what they're saying about intermittent fasting, and I was like, oh yeah, who I got my nutrition certification through Precision Nutrition. Um, I had enrolled in one of their courses on intermittent fasting, but I hadn't gone through the entire 100 plus page program or course. And I was like, I should do that. And so because of this just off chance conversation, he ended up sparking in me that interest to learn more about things that I am interested in. But I will say, it's not always fun. It's really not always fun to learn. I don't know all the biology things, all of the chemistry things, all of the things, nor do I want to be a walking library. Like, I want to have a wealth and depth of knowledge, but I don't want to be the person that's like, hey, I know everything. I would much rather be the person like, hey, I'm going to find that out. That way, it's never from misinformation or um, something where I am a walking robot, because that's not what humans are. We're people, and we all have our own experiences. And one of the sections that I absolutely loved, I'm up in my loft, so I'm pointing down, not like under the world, but like pointing down to my kitchen table. One of the things that I absolutely loved was how they talked about all the different psychological things that could happen, all of the different biological things, all of the different sociological things that could happen, because you can't train one person the same way as another. You just can't. I mean, things as small as they have different body temperatures, they process information differently. One of them has childhood trauma, the other one does not. Like, everyone is different. Every single person is different, and you'll never know what someone else has gone through. You'll never know. You may understand, you may be able to empathize, but you've never walked a day in their shoes. You have no idea what that's like. Um, if you grew up in a home where your parents were split, someone who has never experienced, I have never experienced that. I can only empathize so far. Like, I don't know what that's like. And so being able to not only coach people differently, but understand that, oh, if somebody does X, they may, not they will, but they may have Y result, or they may have Z result, or they may have who knows result. That's why it's important, especially with nutrition sciences, with fitness sciences, with science in general. It's, you test the data and you find out what it says. Um, some one person may heal from a hamstring injury a lot faster than another. Did they do something differently? Maybe, even if they're under the same protocol, this one might have had a better recoverability rate. This one did. We won't have all of those answers. There are so many different answers out there that we can't just say this is exactly what's going to happen. Now we have tested enough things enough times to have a very good idea as to what will happen, but it doesn't always mean that it's going to happen immediately as we, you know, envision. And so I think it's really important, especially as I continue to educate myself, which is hilarious because I dropped out of college and I mean, I'm learning more about the things that I want to learn about, but and I never wanted to be a teacher, and now I'm a teacher. Thanks, mom and dad. Um, but it's one of those that investing in myself and investing in my education and knowing, like, for a good time, the Dunning Kruger effect was real with me. Like, it was real. And now that I know more, I'm like, oh my gosh, I know nothing. I know absolutely nothing. I mean, I know a lot, but because I know more, I know how much there is that I will never know. And okay with that. I'm okay with that. I'm very okay with that. I don't want to know all of the things. But I think it's really important to continue to invest in yourself, so that there is something to leave behind. Um, I think one of the things, and I've talked about it several times, like with the guitar, um, like I hope that I do a better job of keeping myself accountable and playing the guitar a little bit, because something I want to leave behind to my grandchildren is music and storytelling and just, I don't know, sitting around and they tell their friends, "Oh yeah, my grandpa's gonna, play the guitar and it's ghost stories or something." Like, yo, I would love to be that grandpa. That would be awesome. Get on the guitar, Tyler. Dang. Um, but yeah, and you know, why wouldn't I want to invest in myself? And don't get me wrong, music isn't for everybody. Fitness isn't for everybody. I would argue that everyone should do fitness and everyone should have some appreciation of music. However, everybody's different. And that's why you have to be really, especially as a coach, we have to be really mindful and tactful with how we communicate. Um, the three E's that I always try to put forth is empower, educate, elevate. And then the fourth one, the big bonus encompassing one, is empathy. Um, I have a lot of clients who have experienced a lot of life. And in a gym, the gym should be the safest place of of all. I mean, everyone there is there to fail so that they can get better. Like, the entire point of working out is to provoke a stress on the body that we can that is just on the edge of our comfort zone, so that our body repairs, so that the next time we do it, it's not as difficult. But then we, stress a little bit more, not as difficult. Stress a little bit more, not as difficult. But we're not machines. People aren't machines. I'm not a machine. I don't want to be a machine. Again, I said I don't want to be a robot. Sticking to it. And when we look at, the physiological processes of the body, or how much we are able to handle at one time. I mean, we can only have so much on our plate before we implode. That's that's just human nature. Like, sometimes you can't take on anymore. Um, and if you're in a situation, in a relationship, in a partnership, in a business partnership, whatever you want to call that, or even a friendship, like, you may not be able to take on what someone else is asking of you, and hopefully they're asking. Um, one of my good buddies told me the other day, "Hey, we need to chat. Like, can I call in a bit?" And it's like, "Hey, man, I don't have the bandwidth for it." But I knew that he knew it was all out of me just doing what I needed to do for me. He reached out for help. I was unable to be there at that time, but he and I have been in a friendship long enough to know, like, no, I know he's got my back. He's got to take care of himself. And then sure enough, I think like 2 days later, we had a 45-minute phone call, and it was all good. Like, there wasn't any stress about it. And one of the most impactful moments for me was, I was having a really rough day one time, and I called my mom, and I just kind of started venting. And she was like, "Hey, I can't, I, I can't do this right now. I don't remember verbatim what she said, but it's along the lines of like, I can't be here for you right now." And that was one of the most rewarding things she could have done because she set a boundary. She let me know, like, "Hey, I need to prioritize myself." And that gave me permission to then in the future be like, you know what? It's okay to prioritize yourself. And especially I'm generally a giver. My businesses are built on giving and providing services to others. Not, I mean, yes, do they help myself 100%, but it's also, it's very much like, no, like, how can I help more people? I mean, I'm not making this video to, I mean, I don't know why I would be making this video other than to help people, especially when like no one here. I'm just talking into the void at this point, but I do think that there is a lot of quality in this. And maybe one day somebody stumbles upon this and is like, "Oh, wow, I really needed to hear that." Um, and in my last video ago, um, your story, my story will be a page in someone else's survival guide. And I take that very seriously, and that's why it's personal training to me. I'm not a personal trainer who just tells you, it treats like a boot camp. You do push-ups, you do sit-ups, you do whatever calisthenic. No, like, it's personal. Hey, how are you doing today? You okay? Did you sleep enough? What'd you eat today? Like, it's personal for me because that's what I would want from my coach. I want them to know me. I want them to care about me. And yep, maybe that's not what you want, and we wouldn't vibe, and that's fine. I'm not everybody's cup of tea, and I'm okay with that. I used to not be okay with that. I used to need to be everybody's best friend, and basically ended up that I had no best friend or close friends. I could kind of blend in anywhere, but never really belonged. And I'm starting to appreciate that more. And so with continuing education, there are a couple certifications coming up that I'm like, ooh, that'd be nice. That'd be really nice. And then also as a business, it's like, oh, hey, did you know that I also have this credential and this credential and this credential? Basically, my value just goes up. And I would make it inclusive with what I would offer for my in-person clients. But then with the Bucking Fit Life and having all of those online master courses, I just built out a workbook today. My assistant is awesome. She's probably never going to see these videos, but I just want to make sure she knows I'm shouting her out. But we touched base on putting together a workbook for the Bucking Fit Life, when it has all aspects of nutrition, mental health, and fitness in it. And then you'll be able to download each workbook and then be able to go through and like, okay, I need to fill out, these 5 to 8 forms in the initial stage. And then here are the practical application stages that I need to do this one and this one and this one for nutrition. You know what? I'll get back to mental health another time. Let me go to fitness, da 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 da. I even had a conversation today with a prospective client, or not really sure. We just had a consultation. And she was like, there's so much information online. I don't know where to start. I'm sure we have all been there. I I told her, I was like, oh, you mean like in a really good restaurant where it's like, oh, I could get this, or I could get that, or I could, oh my gosh, so many options, and I don't know which one to pick. And eventually you have to pick, or you just don't eat dinner at a really nice restaurant or at whatever restaurant. Tea, honey chamomile. It's great with what is it? It's the ginger turmeric herbal tea. It hits. It's really nice. But like having too many options is almost worse than having no options at all or having limited options. Um, and I have found in my business that if I have too many options for people to decide from, they don't know what to do. So I give them the same option and they can do that option more than once or anywhere from 1 to 4 times. You can work out 1 time a week in person, 2 times a week in person, 3 times a week in person, 4 times a week in person. Really doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I can program effectively for all of them. And then also, if you're not coming in person, then I would write your workouts for you. Boom. That's how Buckingham Fitness operates. Still trying to figure out how the Bucking Fit Life operates. And this is where the continuing education comes in. This is where the investing in myself comes in. This is where the leaving something behind comes in. Um, I know that these online masterclasses have a snot ton of value. I'm not really good at marketing them. I got off social media, so people don't really know about it. I'm doing a seminar in 3 weeks, talking about the Bucking Fit Life and get Bucking Fit, and teaching people how to create a healthy and sustainable lifestyle, because everybody just wants the end result and they don't want the actual tools that will help them get there and then keep them there forever. Because it shouldn't be about weight loss. It shouldn't be about weight gain. Those should have been different. Those should have been backward. Shouldn't be about weight gain. Shouldn't be about weight loss. It's about the maintenance. It's about the sustainment or the sustaining or the maintenance of all of that. Your weight's going to fluctuate. You're going to lose weight. You're going to gain weight. It's going to happen. I'm not sorry for saying that. Not sorry for saying that. Over time, though, we should look at it in a much longer fashion. We can't look at it as I need to lose 10 pounds in 2 days. Why do you have to? I mean, unless you're an MMA fighter and you're cutting for a card and you have to do it, well, yeah, okay, that's a little bit different. You're also getting paid a bajillion dollars to do it. Most of us are just, hey, I just want to feel comfortable in my skin. I just want to feel comfortable in my clothes. Hey, I just want to look in the mirror and not be disgusted. I've been there. Some days I'm still there. And body dysmorphia is real. And especially when society puts it on us like this is how you're supposed to look. But I don't look like that. So am I a failure? Am I the problem? Am I the one that's, like it's really concerning when we have those situations where it's like, oh, okay, that's what I'm supposed to look like. Or we hear about Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson's. I don't know what to call him, whether he's Dwayne Johnson or The Rock. So DJ, if you ever watch this, I'm sorry, bro. Cool. But he gets up they say he gets up at 4:30 a.m. and or 4 a.m. and does a 2-hour workout and then does this and then that and da 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 da. Well, the normal person can't do that and eat the 5,000 calories and the cod and whatever he's doing, and I don't know, make his own essential oils, whatever he's doing, but he's getting paid a bajillion dollars. People are working for him, and he doesn't even have to think about, like, do you think he makes his own meals? Do you think he does his own grocery shopping? And this is in no way to go at DTRJ, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Yeah, no way going at him. It's just keep in mind, like, when you compare yourself to these people that are at a status that we can't even comprehend, like, he has an entire team of people. He has probably 15 people that he could just at a drop of a hat do whatever he needs to for them. They would do whatever he needs them to do because he has the resources. He has the money. Most of us don't have that. Most of us don't have that. At most, somebody might cut your grass or somebody might clean your house. Maybe. Most of us don't have that, though. And so as you continue learning, as you continue investing in yourself, really keep in mind, like, where you started and where you want to go, but you're never going to get here. Because once you're here, then your life doesn't stop once you reach the mountaintop. It doesn't. And maybe it means that, oh, hey, I'm done with this journey. I did that thing. Now I'm going to go do this other thing. And then that journey starts all the way over. Your life's not over once you lose 20 pounds. You haven't reached the peak of physical performance once you, set a course record on a 10K. Maybe that's a goal of yours that you've been striving for a really long time, and that's awesome. But then what? And that's where I would encourage you to not have that destination happiness. Like, is me figuring out how to market the Bucking Fit Life and all of that stuff going to help me financially? It sure could. It sure could, especially when there's so much value in it. But it's also one of those things, yeah, but I have to fail so many times at trying to sell it. And maybe it hits off on the third one or the 15th one or the 79th one. You just don't know. And that's why you have to be a scientist. You have to test. You have to continue educating yourself. You have to invest in yourself so that you can leave something behind. And I want to leave a lot behind. I don't want to be the person that didn't care, because I'm not the person that didn't care. I have always cared. I have always cared deeply. I have always loved deeply. I have always expressed myself very deeply. And I'm hoping that leaving behind, whether you call it a legacy, whether you say I'm building an empire, whatever it is, I want to build a foundation that cannot be broken, which also means that when you're building the foundation, it's really, really difficult and it takes a lot of work. And I'm trying to be kind to myself during it. And, maybe I'll be able to look at this video a year from now. So Halloween of 2022, or you know what, Halloween of 2025, and be able to go back and be like, wow, I've grown. Because I hope I'm not. I hope I'm not this person 3 years from now, 4 years from now. Good Lord. We're closer to 2030 than we are to 2000. Just want to put that out there. Scratch that. We're closer to 2030 than we are to 2010. Like, that's insane. That is insane. That was my phone yelling at me, giving me a notification. But it's definitely something to consider with when you're setting goals and things like that and having a bigger picture. This year, and this is continuing education and investing in yourself and leaving something behind. This year was not supposed to happen the way that it did, but it did. I'm heartbroken in a lot of ways. I'm also breathing differently in a lot of different ways. I'm proud of myself in a lot of ways. And when you have large, tall, big mountains to climb, it can be really lonely when you get towards the top, or even when you start. How many overnight, I feel like I talked about this, how many overnight, music sensations have we heard of? Well, we just didn't hear about them for the first 5 to 10 years that they were doing it. We only heard about them when that one thing hit off, and then it was like, yo, they got all this stuff too? Dang. I mean, nobody knows who I am right now. And honestly, I hope I cannot be the face of something forever. I was talking to a couple people. I don't want to be the CEO. I want to be the CCO, be the chief creative officer. Like, I want to create, I want to explore, I want to try some things, fail miserably, and then do it again, and then do it again, and then do it again, and then do it again. Who know? I hope that when I am 75, I am teaching my granddaughter how to I don't know, do a wheelie on a motorcycle. All right, maybe not. Maybe not. To my daughter or son and whatever, maybe don't let me teach your daughter that. Maybe not. But okay, maybe I teach the grandkids how to bake, but also how to like style cake and how to do all these different things and how to crochet and play the guitar or whatever it is. Um, but I want to leave something behind. And one of my biggest concerns is myself. I am the biggest obstacle in my way. My ambition is so great that it also anything that I have done thus far hasn't seemed like it was enough. Not for anybody else, but for me. And that's something that I get to tackle with. I get to explore that. I get to learn how to be satisfied. Hamilton is going through my head right now. If you're thinking he's probably thinking of Hamilton right now. I am 100% thinking of Hamilton right now. Um, yeah, and well, in closing, looked at a house today. It's real nice. Want to look at a couple others, but it's real nice. And yeah, this year's been different. It's been very new. Excited to see where it goes. All right, team. Have a safe and happy Halloween. I gonna sign off and end stream. Deuces.